What's up, guys? It's Jason here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Burger Insight. When you think of fine dining, what do you think of? You might think of some Michelin star restaurants or your favorite chef like Gordon Ramsay. Probably not Shake Shack, right? Well, by the end of this video, I guarantee you'll understand why hamburgers at Shake Shack can be considered fine dining as well. Shake Shack is ubiquitous on the East Coast and is a fairly common sight throughout the United States generally. With Shake and Shack in all caps, Futura-styled font with the outline of a burger wedged between the two words, it's an easily recognizable logo and restaurant chain. Though it sells many of the same items as McDonald's and Burger King, such as hamburgers, cheeseburgers, fries, and milkshakes, Shake Shack does not aspire to offer extremely affordable meals only. Rather, the brand positions itself as more upscale and more expensive than McDonald's, but more approachable in terms of image and price point than boutique burger joints. Considering how common Shake Shack has become, it may be surprising to know that it only opened its first location in 2004. In less than 2 decades, as of the year-end 2020, Shake Shack boasts more than 250 locations domestically and internationally. To put that in context, West Coast rival In-N-Out Burger has 358 locations in total and has been around since 1948. How has Shake Shack managed to expand so quickly while being flush with cash and remaining sought after by foodies?
When this happens, good things are happening right here.
In this video, I'll break it all down to understand their secrets to success so far and why Shake Shack is taking over the world. So next time, tell your significant other that you'll be taking them to an international fine dining establishment and take them to Shake Shack. But first, you know where I'm going with this, right? A small favor. If you wouldn't mind just tapping that like button for the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate it. The more engagement a video like this gets, the more likely the YouTube algorithm is to push it out to more people to enjoy. And as this is a brand new channel I started this year, it helps me out and it's free to do. If you like hamburgers, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for new videos each week. And if you're more of a Italian person, you should hit the subscribe button too. Thanks for doing that. And now let us continue on with why Shake Shack is so popular. How did Shake Shack start? By 2000, the Madison Square Park area had become quite seedy and lacked the restaurants and shops that attracted legitimate business. As a result, that year, the New York City government enlisted successful restaurateur Danny Meyer to spearhead the Madison Square Park Conservancy in an effort to clean up its image and attract entrepreneurs. One of Meyer's employees, Randy Garutti, ended up opening and overseeing a hot dog cart from 11 Madison Park's kitchen, also owned by Meyer.
Shake Shack was born as a hot dog cart with the sole purpose of supporting an art project in Madison Square Park in 2001.
For all you fancy foodies out there, as a side note, 11 Madison Park is one of the most acclaimed and expensive Michelin restaurants in the US. Check out this picture, you'll understand why. That's posh. The surprising success of that simple hot dog stand led to Meyer opening the first Shake Shack location in a kiosk within Madison Square Park. Although the prior hot dog cart was successful, Meyer did not open the initial Shake Shack location with the intention of opening a franchise. Instead, it was meant to be a local restaurant catering to New Yorkers and tourists to the Big Apple. As Donald Trump would say, it was huge. Meyers saw an opportunity to open a second Shake Shack and perhaps franchise, with Garutti continuing as the CEO because of their success selling hot dogs. Garutti explained, "What happened was that we held the same standards of quality to our cart that we did in our restaurants, and people loved it. All of a sudden, 50 people lined up, 100 people lined up, and the hot cart became this amazing, crazy thing." Early on, quality control became key to their ability to scale and make Shake Shack as well known as competitors like Five Guys and In-N-Out.
I don't expect anyone to say, this is the one and only burger I'll ever eat for the rest of my life. We just want to make your rotation. And if we become one of the burger experiences that you love.
The road less traveled. Appearance. As anyone who has ever patronized an In-N-Out or Five Guys knows, 1950s retro interiors with its mandatory red and white color scheme seems to be the gold standard for burger places. However, Meyer, as Garutti describes, they wanted a modern version of a roadside burger stand. They explicitly did not want retro, not 50s music playing, but today's version of what made that place great. All we ever wanted to do at Shake Shack was to have good people serving fresh food and to sell a few hot dogs. This more contemporary approach seems to be at odds with conventional wisdom in regards to what's tried and true in the burger business.
When we opened the second Shack, we realized this was something special.
Fine dining quality. Shake Shack has managed to expand globally in such a short time with 235 restaurants in 15 countries. In major part because of the fine dining quality of its simple offerings, the company is committed to using high-quality ingredients, including 100% antibiotic-free Angus beef and toppings such as cherry peppers and applewood smoked bacon. Gone are the days of freeze-dried tasting beef and sloshy smushed peppers. Their flat-top hot dogs are also made of antibiotic-free beef that can be marketed as healthier because it's 100% without hormones. Since the chain aspires to appeal to the contemporary rather than the nostalgic customer, it also has more than just acceptable vegetarian options, the most notable of which is the Shroom Burger, made of portobello mushrooms stuffed with cheese. Have you ever tried that before?
This is a tasty burger.
Like many other chains, Shake Shack also has its literal secret sauce, which is its signature sauce. It's comparable to a dill, ketchup, and mustard blend with I don't know what else. It is tasty though.
Well, the real way to see the secret sauce at Shake Shack is to watch our employees and watch how focused they are on their work, but also watch how much respect they have for each other.
In addition, Shake Shack has a certain luster that, say, McDonald's or Burger King lacks because of their collaborations with chefs. Most notably, through their Now Serving series, Shake Shack offers one-day chef collaborations. Chefs as famous as Union Park of Attaboy and Atamix and Dominique Cred of Atelier Cren. The move is an obvious nod to its start in the kitchen of fine dining hotspot 11 Madison Park. The message should have been loud and clear to the foodies who love watching cooking shows and following chefs on social media. We're respected in the industry, even though we serve burgers. I love that message. It's so cool.
First bun, then patty, followed by ketchup, mustard, pickles, extra onions, lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, and bun, in that order.
Appealing to local tastes. As part of its effort to expand successfully internationally, Shake Shack adapts its decor and menu to local sensibilities while maintaining the all-American image and appeal of the brand. Michael Kark, Shake Shack's global licensing officer, explained to CNN that what we learned early on is that people don't want us to be a local version of Shake Shack. They want us to be Shake Shack. Examples of their interest in local tastes include a cherry blossom shake in Japan and a red bean shake in South Korea. Yummy! The emphasis is on offering a core Shake Shack offering, such as a shake or burger, but with a slight twist that lets local consumers know that Shake Shack understands the culture and loves local culture as well as that of the USA. It doesn't have to be one or the other. In fact, Shake Shack even offered cherry blossom shakes for a limited time in the USA because of their outstanding popularity in Japan. In its focus on expansion beyond the United States, Shake Shack is quite different from competitors who want to focus on consolidating its brand power within its home country and then going global. Kark noted there's a logic to this seeming madness. If things don't go as planned overseas, at least it was really far away from home. In other words, if something goes wrong in Dubai, for instance, it won't be as scandalous as if it had happened in its core American market. On the bright side, if things go well, it helps to consolidate the Shake Shack brand in markets they may have fewer American fast food competitors. Financials behind world domination. To expand globally undoubtedly takes a lot of time, effort, and perhaps most importantly of all, money. Throughout 2014, the rumor mill went wild about a Shake Shack IPO because of its possibly unprecedented growth. At the time, it had gone from 1 to 63 locations in about 10 years. In 2014, it recorded $83.8 million in revenue, quadrupling its sales. While you can't always believe rumors, this is one that turned out to be blissfully true for the chain. By 2015, Shake Shack had gone public on the stock exchange after expanding rapidly with locations in Delaware, California, Washington, D.C., Florida, Illinois, Maryland, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, and New Jersey. Shake Shack became known on the NYSE as Shack, S-H-A-K, according to its ticker symbol. At $47 per share, just 4 months later in April, it hit $72 and then climbed to about $90 a month later. Individuals who invested when Shake Shack went public and stayed until May of that year almost doubled their money.
I feel so alive!
Shake Shack continued on its quest for world domination with much success post-IPO. It began to diversify its types of locations, which shouldn't be surprising considering that it started with the hot dog stand. In 2016, it opened a mall location in Houston, Texas, while in 2017, it opened a location in a mixed-use complex called The Summit at Frintz Farm in Lexington, Kentucky. 2018 saw the chain begin to service Jewel Changi Airport in Singapore starting in 2019. To understand just how important a move like that was for Shake Shack, Changi Airport as of 2019 was the world's 7th busiest airport internationally, with about 68 million passengers passing through and potentially at least glimpsing the Shake Shack shop front, if nothing else. If you stop by Singapore, you'll have to try the special pandan shake at Shake Shack. It's delicious. That same year, Shake Shack opened up closer to home in Mexico City. The opening was a hit considering many people faced a 2-hour wait to get a taste of Americana. COVID-19. As Shake Shack faced success after success, it got a wrench thrown in its way in the form of COVID-19, much like most businesses in the food and beverage industry, especially at the height of COVID lockdowns throughout the US and internationally. Shake Shack CEO Garudi confirmed that 2020 sales have declined by about 17% because of COVID. Nonetheless, because Shake Shack is not a full-service fine dining establishment in the same vein as waitered restaurants like 11 Madison, the chain has the opportunity to service customers through pickup windows, curbside, and drive-thru. Shack Track locations are part of the company's 2021 effort to make customers confident that picking up food from Shake Shack is safe for their health. That Shack Track effort requires the company to add drive-thru lanes and walk-up windows that also meet the 6 feet social distancing mandated by the government. The investment in physical reconfigurations to stores is accompanied by the fact that app and web-based sales have practically ensured that the company stays afloat. As proof that digital may be here to stay, Shake Shack reported that online sales have stayed at 80% for the last weeks of May 2020, demonstrating how drastically stay-at-home orders shifted buying habits, with the end of April showing digital sales were 84% of total sales, an 18% increase from early March when the COVID lockdown started in New York City. The company noted that compared to 2019, web and app sales increased almost 3 times. It's a telling indicator of where the company may choose to invest as they also plot their continued international and domestic growth. The rest of 2021. While Shake Shack weathers the storm, it also looks forward to its future with planned growth. The company has outlined targeting between 35 to 40 store openings and an additional 45 to 50 through 2022. As many real estate agents like to say, it's all about location, location, location. And Shake Shack leadership seems to agree. Their focus is on opening in top-tier locations in the center of urban populations and the suburban outskirts. COVID-19 seems to have only reinforced their strategy of pursuing different types of formats and locations, such as drive-thrus, curbside pickup, and walk-up windows. If anyone thought that COVID would perhaps make Shake Shack more apprehensive about its international presence, the company is resilient in strengthening its foothold in key Asian and Central American markets. More specifically, in 2021, Shake Shack aims to open 15 to 20 locations throughout mainland China and Mexico. 2022 is projected to have 20 to 25 more locations. Kuwait and Dubai will also get more Shake Shack locations to increase their brand identity in the Middle East. Culture, as reflected in its food and in its workplace, is essential to Shake Shack's plans for 2021 and beyond. Culturally hip offerings that blend East and West, such as Korean gochujang chicken bites and Korean gochujang French fries, are part of Shake Shack's proactive interest in being ahead of the curve and a cultural mover and shaker. No pun intended.
Oh, my favorite.
And that brings us to today. Shake Shack wants to invest in its workers too. In a vein similar to In-N-Out Burger's much-admired treatment of its workers, in 2020, it noted that it promoted many women and diverse minorities, with more than 56% of internal promotions being women, and 76% being minorities. This could have been indicative of the success of its Shift Up education program, intended to train employees in skills relevant to their personal and professional success, such as financial and leadership skills. In the fast food or even fast casual world, reinvestment in employees is something pushed aside for financial bottom lines. Shake Shack's overall commitment to food quality and hospitality makes its future look bright. I'm not a gambler, but if I were, I would bet on it becoming an even greater force to reckon with in the competitive world of fast casual dining. So with that said, thank you so much for watching my video. There was a significant amount of research, production, and a ton of hamburger eating that went into making this video possible. As this is a brand new YouTube channel and I just started this year, if you enjoy videos like this, please click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. This is the last in the burger series at Company Insight. If you missed any of the other videos, make sure to check them out. And if you have any other suggestions for future series, let me know. If you haven't seen those already, check out my video on In-N-Out Burger and the other one on Five Guys Burgers. The In-N-Out one is my personal favorite. As always, stay happy and healthy and stay tuned for another episode of Company Insight next week.